those laws went into effect, the engineering-minded Swiss thought, well, how do we make sure that this actually comes to pass, that there is equality? One way, we have to require that every company that we contract with is correct under the law. And to do this, they applied this software program so that every company had to review its practices, its salaries, its gender equity, and it was called gender certification, and you were not allowed to do business with Switzerland unless you had the stamp of approval that you were equal. Now, I heard about this and thought it was the greatest thing in the world, and then I found out that Nicole Schwab, who is the daughter of the guy who had another great idea, who started the World Economic Forum, was working on taking this idea of gender certification and creating a system that would work for multinational companies all over the world. So my thinking is, to measure something is to change it. You know, once you realize you have a problem, you are much more prone to act on it. So that's what this certification program that Nicole Schwab developed called EDGE can do. A company signs on to do it, and they do an audit of what they have. Are they paying people equally? Are their promotions policies equal? But then they also dig deep down into the culture, and they say, are there flexible work programs? Do you have an on-ramp for women who've taken a few years off for their family? Do you have flexible leave policies? Do you have child care programs? And you get points for all of these, and you get a certain threshold of points, you're gender certified. EDGE stands for Economic Dividends for Gender Equality. If a company is EDGE certified, then skilled workers, who companies are very much competing for in the global economy, will know that this is a progressive company with flexible work policies that they want. If a company is EDGE certified, investors will know it has or soon will have women leaders at the top bringing those dividends at the bottom. If a company is EDGE certified, it just might end up in one of those gender lens funds. Already, multinational companies like Hewlett-Packard, L'Oreal, IKEA, Medtronic, and Deloitte are getting ready to be among the first generation of EDGE certified companies. So tell all your kids who are applying for jobs, when you go back, that's where to work. Imagine what this could do many years from now to those companies, and as more companies become EDGE certified. For an idea of its impact, I like to look at that LEED certification, which is that certification system they came up with for buildings when companies were really dead set on showing that they were environmentally sound. They started certifying their buildings, and a company would go in and make sure that they weren't using inefficient energy efficiency equipment. Well, today, since 2003, when this was first introduced, there are enough LEED certified buildings in the world that 8 billion square feet of building space is certified. Now you imagine what that has done to the carbon footprint. And I mean, how quickly that has changed things. Imagine how quickly EDGE, if it takes off this way, could change things with the glass ceiling. So it could mean long overdue wholesale changes in the workplace, making life finally easier for struggling families who are adding to the productivity of our country, juggling making those two incomes. So there you have it. If you take my word for it, this change-embracing environment that can be scary has some very good changes for women. We are on the way to a complete transformation in leadership. When women run the Swiss Federal Council, when Christine Lagarde runs the International Monetary Fund, when Hillary Clinton runs the US State Department, when Viviane Reding is #2 at the European Commission, when Indira Nooyi runs Pepsi, when Michelle Bachelet runs UN Women, and when Angela Merkel runs Germany, the world has changed. Minds change, policies change, culture changes. You know, our mothers' women's movement, our women's movement, worked to clear a path. But now, with global diverse businesses behind us, it's our fathers and our brothers who are now at the top of those companies who are going to pave the way. They have seen the perils of failing to heed the winds of change in the graveyard of those companies, Blockbuster, that could not adapt. And if all those studies are correct, breaking the glass ceiling will bring profits to those companies. It will also bring those changes for families. So this is a win for business, a win for women, a win for families. And every one of us can help this tipping point along. Invest in companies that are women-owned. Talk up this research that shows that it makes you more profitable. And invest in enlightened, or those certified companies. And cheer on excellent women who are already in leadership by promoting women in our companies and our nonprofits. You know, Christine Lagarde was a French expat living in the United States for many years, and in fact, she attributes those years to her success. At the World Economic Forum a couple weeks ago, she told us about how when she was finance minister in France, she had to look at the books of quasi-governmental companies. And after a full day of looking at the book, she would sit down with the CEO and she would say, "And so, how is your board?" And they would say, "It's fine." And she would say, "Do you have any women?" And they would say, "We would, but there are just no qualified women." And she would say, "Really?" And in her pocket, she would have 5 women who had gone to the same schools as current board members of that company, had similar work experience, and she would take it out, put it on the table, and she would say, "Here are some women with some interesting qualifications. You might consider them next time." And now, as president of the IMF, Christine Lagarde knows well the fear-inducing challenges of our rapidly changing global economy, but she's an optimist too. She says, at the end of the day, you can choose to be an optimist or a pessimist. They are both wrong. But the optimists are happier. So to you, my change-embracing fellow expat sisters, here's to global changes that will bring happier times for women in leadership. And I'll see you tonight.